Captain's Log Supplemental.
Hey Jeremy, you know those race cars you're busy building?
Yeah, I do.
You,
I
you,
got one
you
that I'm looking at every day.
you know what I don't see you working on?
You don't see me working on the amazing Sentinel system yet.
That's true. It would take all of 10 minutes for you to have one.
And it's very quick and easy to install.
It is. It is. And we could watch you when we are not at the race with you and see how you're doing. And then we can call you up when you get out of the car and tell you everything you did wrong.
And I love that because so many years I've been driving and not been able to see what I'm doing.
I know.
And now we can.
I know. You know what I'd like to do with the video? My most favorite thing is I take the video and I load it on YouTube and then I send it to my coach and say, look at 26 minutes and 17 seconds. Look at this one lap and tell me what I can do better. And every single time, you know what they say?
Everything.
Exactly. Precisely. So with the Sentinel system, you get instantaneous feedback plus useful feedback that unfortunately is accurate for my driving.
I think it's accurate for all of our driving.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's probably true. Yep. But you need to get one in your car, sir.
Yes, I do. And with the discount code that you're going to tell everybody, they can save 10% on this awesome system.
Yep. Trouble free. I haven't had an issue getting video every time we've gone out with the Sentinel. It's always worked. Can't say the same for some of the other systems we've tried. So I don't know. It's on the podcast notes down there. Don't do it while you're driving, though. We like to have our listeners live. It's good.
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training Podcast. I am going solo host this week. My name is Bill. I would say who else is hosting, but I already gave it away. Nobody else. Anyway, we have returning guest, host, GridLife, Lime Rock. Justin's back. Welcome back, Justin.
Thanks for having me back, Bill.
I felt crappy being sick. Well, obviously you feel crappy when you're sick, but I really felt bad because it was like our one easy time to go meet everybody from GridLife and you among them. And it was just like, oh, I don't want to get anybody sick. So we stayed home and watched it on YouTube. So
Yeah, it was weird not seeing you at the event.
I don't know. However, we have been talked into going to pit race. So we'll be a pit race.
Nice. That everyone keeps asking if I'm going to be there. Unfortunately, I will be at Petit Le Mans. It's the same weekend.
It's so close. It's one goes like dead south and one goes diagonally north.
Yep. Go figure.
Well, that's too bad. We were kind of hoping you'd be there, but that's okay. We'll entertain some of our other GridLife friends, so it'll be fun.
Oh yeah, you guys will have a good time.
Yeah, right now Vicky's kind of feeling a little bit of burnout from the season so far, so I'm not sure she's going to be racing. I'm hoping she's coming. If not, we'll figure it out. It's okay.
I get that. I definitely get that one.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why this season's been so hard, but it feels like it's been a bit of a challenge.
It's been tough for a lot of people. My buddy Mike, he's gone through, oh Lord, what is it? 3 engines in like a month and a half, I think.
That makes it hard automatically.
Oh yeah. And he's, swapping them post event and having it ready like 2 weeks later. And it's so much.
Yeah.
His level of commitment is very much commendable.
You can see that. I think let's see, we did We haven't done that many events. I drove like everybody drove at pit race, so that was fun. And then New Jersey, we did okay. And then Thompson car got injured after two stints, so I never even drove. I just did like pit stops galore. But for some reason, this year is beating us up a little bit. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's beating up a lot of people this year.
It's okay. So, sir, Lime Rock, I hear it's one of your favorites.
It is. It is indeed one of my favorites. It is probably, I don't know if it's at the top of my list for my favorite track in the country, but it is definitely in my top three.
Really? What else? What's the top three?
Oof. Uh, as it stands.
Yeah, TBD. You can change next time you
Oh
come on.
yeah. Oh yeah. Probably Watkins Glen, Atlanta Motorsports Park, Lime Rock. Not in any particular order.
Really? Atlanta Motorsports Park. Hmm.
I love that track. It's so great. I love Road Atlanta too. Don't get me wrong. That's where it gets tough is between Road Atlanta and Atlanta Motorsports Park.
Well,
Both for very different reasons.
yeah, I would say they're a little different from each other.
Yeah, Atlanta Motorsports Park is very much it's more technical, a lot more
Hmm.
curve. Whereas Road Atlanta, you can just put your foot down and keep your momentum up and have a blast scaring yourself to death.
Hmm. I don't know if I don't like turn 12 more than turn one or turn one more than turn 12.
To me, turn one is way more terrifying than 12.
It seems like it, but you keep when you're coming down the hill, 12 doesn't look like fun either. So
Yeah.
no,
It's like, those walls look awfully close.
they don't look soft either. I mean, they they
No,
don't.
no, they don't. Our
No.
buddy Jack, well,
Yeah.
Jackie Ding. I remember at GridLife South in 2019, oh boy, he got dangerously close to that wall one lap. Had me on pins and needles watching him go down that hill.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of production on the Google YouTube GridLife channel. Did you
Oh
notice
yeah,
that? Did you see
yeah,
it?
I did.
Yeah.
The what is it? The ding fling.
The ding fling. Yeah. Yeah, somebody else had it. I'm blanking on who the other one was. Somebody else had something too. I saw the ding
I
fling, and then there was
I was
somebody else.
helping Renee with GLTC races the whole weekend, so I was all over the place. But I would catch it on the screen walking into the up into the tower every
Yeah,
once in a while.
I did my usual. I think it was Eric. Maybe it was Eric Teal.
Could have been.
I don't know.
Been.
I do my stalking, and then in the off season, I watch all the Grid Life live streams. It's just what I do.
Yeah, I go back and watch them too, even
Yeah,
if I wasn't there.
I had a ton of fun. I was watching one last winter, and I see this Subaru that it didn't look the best at the time. And then I see this guy. I'm like, I know that guy. It was Dewey with his car, like OG car. I'm like,
Yeah,
that car has changed just a little, just a teeny bit since then.
so I remember when Boogeyman was a whole bunch of different colors, and
It was.
it was a rocket that was held together with hopes and dreams. And it's been really cool to see him develop that car and just set some absolutely absurd times.
Yeah, yeah. I am enjoying his podcast too because I am not a Subaru aficionado, and at least I feel like I know a little bit about it now. So that's okay.
Yep,
It's kind of
yep,
fun. So, sir, Lime Rock, you did your usual work and drive?
yep, yep. I was not working pit lane this year though. I was helping Renee with the GLTC races, doing reviews, um, and kind of getting video and information for her and for other drivers and other people to help make decisions post race, um, and that kind of stuff. So
Well, unfortunately, with Grid Life being as far away from us as it is, we don't get to see them all unless they're on YouTube. And it's at least from the YouTube live streams, it looked like GLTC's been a little more contact than anybody would like, and a little bit more than normal, I think. And Lime Rock
yeah,
didn't look that bad though.
well, yeah. It's definitely not Road America. Road
No.
America was that was wild. I was sitting there. uh, every time my wife walked by, she heard me say like 13, 14, 15, and I'm sitting there just counting up the number of my buddies that are getting involved in some sort of incident, whether it was time attack, GLTC, didn't
Yeah.
matter, just racking up the numbers. But yeah, that crash, that big crash, anyone who watched the live stream of Road America knows that was quite the spectacle,
Mhm.
if you will.
Yeah. Well, usually if you're gonna get into something badly at Road America, it tends to be big and bad. So.
Yeah, that's kind of myself and Evan McLaren were talking halfway through the event. We both didn't go to Road America, but I texted him. I said, "I'm kind of glad we didn't go." He said, "Yeah, I kind of agree."
Yeah. And even if you go to Road America and nothing happens poorly, you have put some stress test on your car. So it's
Oh yeah, yeah.
it,
That track is not a very not easy on a car, even if you do well.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like what all my buddies down in Florida say about Sebring. They're like, you know, you can do well at Sebring, you can do fine. It's not as dangerous as people make it out to be, uh, but it is going to beat the ever loving crap out of your car.
Yeah. That's one of those do the nut and bolt twice car tracks for me.
Yep, yep, yep,
So
yep. I can't wait to get down there one day. I've been wanting to drive Sebring for quite some time, and I've gotten numerous invites with some champ car buddies, but
mhm.
just haven't been able to find the time and make it work, and because I'm a busy guy.
Well, you know, that's okay. You got a couple balls in the air. I understand that.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because we were since we just got home, we've been camping all weekend, and we just got home a few hours ago, and I realized I haven't been home on the weekend in a month and a half, something like that. I've been gone just about every weekend.
Well, hopefully some of those were for fun.
Oh yeah, they were all good reasons. Just thank God none of them work related.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So, sir, Lime Rock looked like a not like a blue sky, sunny weather, but it looked like everything worked out pretty well. It looked, sometimes cloudy is the best racing conditions because you don't feel that sun turning you into a raisin.
Yeah, yeah. Friday was a little hot. It was sunny, but it was hot. Whereas Saturday was cloudy, um, and quite manageable. Saturday was actually pretty nice. The only downside was even though it was cloudy, I was still just as sweaty because I was running all over the place.
True. That's self-induced, but Lime Rock
Yeah,
is not the easiest track to. You can see a lot, and it's a great track to sit at and watch. But if you want to like move yourself around, it's not the easiest hiking.
yeah, kind of like Road Atlanta.
Hmm.
You've
Same.
got a big hill.
Yeah,
So
and
there's
it's
a big hill, and you've got to choose how you want to get up it.
yeah, and everybody always complains about uphill. I always find downhill is the one that kills me.
Yeah, yep, yep, yep.
So, what was your weapon of choice? I have a feeling I know the answer. What was your weapon of choice for this weekend?
My usual, my pride and joy, my little 94 BMW 318i,
Hmm.
which we've done a lot of work to, as you know.
Hmm.
It has been under the knife, and this is technically I guess you could call it a fresh build. While the car looks the same, it's not the same internally. Um, Although we, of course, still followed all the rules,
Yeah.
OEM engine, but we resealed everything and went to an ECU master standalone and individual throttle bodies and a carbon plenum, and it makes all the right noises and revs to 9,000 RPMs. It's great, but we have definitely had our own development issues, finding time to get the tune sorted correctly, uh, get the suspension dialed the way we wanted. We upgraded from 500 series coilovers with Fortunato to the 510s, which
Okay.
are a wonderful, 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 wonderful change. Um, Big, thick white line sway bars as well. That was a huge game changer as well. And we have unfortunately spent most of the season getting that dialed
Hmm.
and getting it how we want it, along with the tune, the ITBs, and numerous other things. But the issue we have fought all season were clutch issues. But
Hmm.
luckily, by Lime Rock, we have that sorted.
What did you
But
end up having
it's
to do?
just been swap the clutch. So on the company that makes the flywheel that I purchased, in little teeny tiny notes down at the bottom, it says that you have to use a 96 or later M3 clutch in it's teeny tiny little font. You had to go and look for it. I just happened to stumble across it.
Hmm.
And so we did not have a 96 to 99 M3 clutch in the car, which is why we were having the issues we were having. So once we found that, got the right parts ordered, got it swapped. Massive shout out to my buddies Tyler and Chris for helping with that and doing a large chunk of that work to get the car back together and ready in time. And I can't thank two of them enough. They really are just outstanding, spectacular people.
So,
They've been tremendous help.
so was the clutch slipping, or was it clamping force, or?
It was slipping and not disengaging. So you would get it in a gear after forcing the car to go in that gear, and then you would struggle to get it back out of that gear.
Hmm. That makes for
Yeah,
very fast lap time.
it makes for a very scary drive to the shop.
Yeah, no, that
There's a
too.
red light, and I can't stop because if I stop, I'm not going to move.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We Vicky and I have uh driven manual transmissions, basically our entire lives. And until we started racing, we'd never worn out a clutch, like 280,000 miles, original clutch, no big deal. But the
Yep.
we had one car where it started behaving weird, and both of us were like, "What's going on?" We had no idea what the a clutch going bad felt like, did anything. And somebody's like, "Your clutch is gone." I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense. Never did that before, but
Yep.
it's okay. That's
I'm
fine."
I'm all about driving a manual too. I drive uh, two different manuals. Yeah, obviously the E36 I drive to work on a fairly regular basis, which people call me nuts for daily driving a race car, but I love it. I don't find it that uncomfortable. But I tell people as well, if you turn the suspension back down and don't
Hmm.
leave it on your race settings, it's actually quite nice.
Yeah, our daughter just she borrows one of the family cars, and I got in the car with her one day when we were teaching her how to drive. I'm like, "What? Why is this car?" I'm like, "Oh, we never changed it from race car. Oh, we got to make this a lot softer because the roads in Pennsylvania are less than ideal." And the car is so much better now. It actually has compression. Who knew?
Yeah,
But
that's how the roads are here, but you already know that.
hmm.
They're getting better. They are. They are getting better. It's just it's taking longer than people want.
Yeah, for sure. Well, when you neglect them for a while, I tell you, the PennDOT has decided that they don't care if you can get somewhere. They're going to keep building like this part of the road and then that part of the road and then that. I'm like, I can't get across this. There's no way around it. But anyway, enough complaining about that. But it's only fun when you have a trailer and you're trying to get through somewhere and it's like the road is closed. I'm like, could you tell me before I'm stuck? But anyway.
It's just like anyone going to Lime Rock. Uh, if you follow your GPS
Hmm.
true and true, you could accidentally end up with a very large fine.
Yeah, the Taconic is not very happy when you get on there with your car trailer.
I told you, we trailered down that highway on accident the
Hmm.
first year
Yeah, yeah,
because I think the only reason we got away with it is because it was like 11:30 at night.
right.
There was just nobody out there, and we didn't know. It was our first time going up there. We had no clue, and we just turned onto a highway, and I should have known something was up when I noticed that there was literally no one on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we went for miles and miles and miles and didn't see a soul. And I was like, I really hope this road's okay to be on.
Well, I got lost trying to move a car, shuffle a car through there, and I ended up on a Taconic for one exit. And I was pulling a car in uh, a rented U-Haul open trailer.
Hmm.
And, I was literally on the road for maybe 2 miles. And cop pulls me over and he's like, "Didn't you see the sign that says no trucks?" I'm like, "I'm a pickup truck. You know, does that mean no SUVs?" And he's like, "What do you?" Because I had out of state plates, so I got to pretend I was dumb. And then
Yeah.
he's like, "Well, you're towing a trailer." I'm like, "The car is lower than my truck. I mean, car is at maybe 4.5 feet off the ground. My truck is at like 5 or 6." He's like, "Well, what if you hit the bridge?" I'm like, "With what?" I don't have anything. He's like, "You're dumb. Just go away. Get off on this next exit." I was anyway. Don't worry. It's fine. It's because, but anyway, he's like, "You're going to hit the bridge." I'm like, "The car is low." Anyway, whatever. All right. Enough Takana complaining. And why does GPS not have a towing setting? Why? Or
Oh, I would
ways?
love that. I love that. That's what we're gonna do, Bill. We're gonna invent a
Something.
GPS app
Exactly.
that you can choose towing, and
Hmm.
it will tell you if you can't tow down this road or if it would be a bad idea to tow down this road. You can have all that. That'll be
We're going to make
our
money. We're going to
lottery
finally
winning
make
idea.
money from racing now. I've heard there's an expensive one for RVs that is like suitable for that, which is essentially what we're asking for because it's almost the same. But
Yep.
I don't know.
We'll make it affordable though.
Exactly. Obviously. But if it's got anything to do with our racing budget, it'll probably end up costing us money. But that's a different story.
We're not going to talk about that. That's okay.
Nope.
We
Budget.
ignore that kind of stuff.
Budget? What budget? I don't have a budget. If I don't add the numbers up, my budget's fine.
And just keep swiping. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. That's right. Mr. Amazon Man, why are you here every day? But anyway, all right, sir. You've had your customary BMW. You were racing in what level this year?
Club TR as per usual.
Ah, okay. So the difference, let's do for the home game players. We've got the street mod, and then we've got Club TR, and then we've got track and track mod. No,
Well, so if we're starting from the bottom up, you have Sunday Cup.
my lovely Sunday Cup that I will be in pit race doing. Yes, yes, I've heard about
Sunday
this.
Cup. Sunday Cup's awesome. I love Sunday Cup. Uh, you've got Sunday Cup,
Hmm.
then Club TR,
Okay.
then Street GT, Street Mod,
Ah, they
Track
snuck one in.
Mod, and then Unlimited, and of course Super Unlimited, which Super Unlimited is kind of hit and miss. You'll have some of those pop up. Those are usually your factory built race cars, the pro drivers. You'll see those guys show up every once in a while. There were a couple of them at Laguna last year,
Hmm.
actually, and they put on a pretty wild show.
Yeah. Was it last year at Lime Rock? They had the F1 powered car. Was that it?
Oh, it's Sasha's 350Z. It's not an F1 powered car, but there's like Formula E technology it's like a hybrid system that he's put into that car, and it's wild. If you ever walk by Sasha's paddock, there's a sign that tells you everything that's in the car. It's like a built VQ with
Hmm.
uh, wild hybrid system uh, with a charging system from this either Formula E or it's derived from Formula One stuff or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, it's a proper car, and he broke the overall production car record
Yep.
last weekend.
And it sounds lovely.
50. Oh yeah, and it's like watching life in fast forward.
Hmm.
You watch him come down the downhill going into Big Bend, and you're like, "There's no way he's going that fast."
Yep.
My
And
my
still
eyes are
turning.
lying to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Lime Rock. So you were doing time attack, which you know,
Mhm.
I'm glad you allowed Sunday Cup to be called Time Attack. That makes me warm and fuzzy. We could spend like a couple hours on that if you want.
Oh yeah, I know we could. I know for a fact we could.
It
Some of my
seems,
buddies don't think it's time attack. Some of my buddies will absolutely die on the hill that it is time attack. My stance is actually very similar to Adam's. They're racing the clock,
yep,
just like the rest of us are.
yep. I was gonna say Adam is firmly on the if you are racing against the clock, you are attacking the time.
Yep, yep,
So
yep, yep. That's my stance too.
that's right. Just because, our time can be measured with a sundial, it's fine. Oh boy, I think the professional, is it Professional Awesome podcast?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Coming up is going to be very entertaining.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Devin, Mike, and Dan, and all those guys and Hayden, they're great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
they had a guest on who was firmly uh he had very firm opinions on what was and what was not time attack. And
I think I know. I know which episode you're talking.
yeah, and apparently there's going to be a part two coming shortly. I cannot wait for
Oh, that'll be great.
my feed
That'll
to
be great.
refresh.
If both of them are on there, that'll make it even better.
I believe there's going to be a guest that we've already talked about on this podcast who will be coming in and sharing his opinion.
Oh, yes. Be awesome.
Yeah, Dewey's not going to be shy on this one. It should be
Oh, no, I know he won't. I
nope,
know for a fact he won't.
nope.
Dewey's a trip.
That's going to be that's going to be worth watching twice. I'm going to be like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, I might even slow down from my 2 or 3x and go back to normal and just listen. It's
Yep.
too
Yep.
too much fun. All right, so Club TR guy, how'd it go?
Not the way we wanted. Not at all the way we wanted. We went, oh, let's see. We went like 2 or 2.5 seconds faster than last year.
That sounds good.
Um, we went, oh Lord, like almost 5 seconds faster than the first year, but we were still slower than we wanted to be. But we also knew the car was not prepped to the absolute fullest of its capability, mostly in the tune. The tune is the biggest hangup right now.
So what's your
We
what's your restriction in TR that you were trying to hit?
Oh well, just I wanted to chase down Evan McLaren with everything I had in me, but I kind of figured going into the weekend with all of the hiccups and headaches and issues we had been fighting that it probably wasn't going to happen. And then once we got out there, we hit a crap ton of traffic, which is expected. It's a mile and a half long track. You catch
Mhm.
up to people rather quick, even if you're going slow.
Yep.
Um, so it's very easy to get caught up with people, as you know, and um, being that there's no power to weight in Club TR, but the guys who are making power, such as Evan McLaren, James Houghton, Peter Granberg, all those guys, great guys, but they have very well dialed cars that they have spent a long time getting perfected.
And they can wheel.
Oh yeah, they are all three of them are wheelmen. Most
Hmm.
of the guys in Club TR are good, proper wheelmen. But Evan McLaren has come out swinging this year.
Hmm.
And if I recall correctly, he has won every event he's gone to this year.
Wow, that's hard to do. Grid life is not easy to dominate.
Yeah, it's not easy to just run away with everything. Him and Alan Patton in Street Mod, who is a local to me, um, has also, yeah, he's won every Grid Life event he's gone to and broken the Street Mod record of each track he's gone to.
Well, I've won every grid life event I went to this year, but that's not impressive since I haven't been to one. But I'll break that streak at pit race. It'll be fine.
That's the goal, man.
Mhm.
I hate I
No,
can't be there to see you win it.
I cannot look you or anyone in the face saying my goal for pit race is to win. My goal for pit race is to do well versus me. And if there's somebody faster, awesome. If there's somebody slower, shockingly surprising, awesome, but don't really care.
Yep. No, I get it.
So,
I get it. That's always been kind of my baseline rule is at the very least, if nothing else, go faster than you did last year.
mhm. Yeah,
Uh,
I've got this dumb idea that I'm going to try to take the Honda Fit faster than our Lemons Civic EG. See if I can go that fast, I'll be happy. That'll be a stretch goal, I think, because the Civic is actually pretty quick.
that'll be awesome.
Mm.
I mean, we see people do it. I mean, people have picked on the Honda Fits and Mazda 2s and everything else in Sunday Cup, and then you see them go around a place like Lime Rock or even Atlanta Motorsports Park,
Yeah.
and they'll surprise you with the times that they set.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I believe that's the case for most of grid life. It's like I was talking to a friend the first time we went to Limerick, which was last year, right? Or was it year before?
Year before,
Year before.
2022.
Yeah. So I'm talking to a friend who he races at Limerick a lot, and I was telling him what the rules were for GLTC, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then I told him the times. He's like, "There's no way they're doing those times." I'm like, "They're doing it. Like, turn on YouTube right now. They're doing 57s and 58s. You know, it's
Mm.
that's what they're doing." He's like, "That's impossible." I'm like, "Well, I got 40 cars up here and say it's not impossible." But
Yeah, and that's another thing that we did last year and this year, and we did not do the first year. I think the first year we had it was like 45 cars, I think, on the
mm,
grid for Lime Rock all at the same time.
right.
And that was just chaos.
Yep.
I mean, everybody did well. There weren't any crazy incidents, but that was wild. And then last year and this year, we split it into Group B and Group A.
Hmm.
Um,
Which I love,
with
by the way.
Yeah, I love it too. The bottom five of Group A at the end of the race go to Group B,
Hmm.
and the top five of Group B at the end of the race go to Group A.
Yep.
And I think that's awesome. I think it's pretty cool. It makes for great racing. It gives some more room on the track.
You get to
Um,
focus on more than 5 or 10 drivers for the weekend.
yep.
You know,
Well,
I texted Adam the first time you guys did that after the first run. I'm like, this is fantastic. You need to do this every time.
I agree.
So,
I
okay.
agree.
Of
It's
course,
been pretty great.
there's not a lot of room in your schedule on a weekend. So, what are we going to do?
No, no, there's definitely not. And trying to squeeze in two GLTC races at probably one of the busiest events of the year is pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's amazing that we pull it off as well as we do, and just knowing and working alongside the people who are a part of making that happen is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I love my grid life.
I
They're
think
amazing.
the thing that makes it easier is the festivals when you don't have the HPDEs that you're also trying to do.
Yeah,
Nothing
it's
against the
nice to have the
HPDEs, but
HPDE all on Sunday. I have some buddies that don't like it. And in some ways, I don't like it because it means there's no break.
right.
You have no time to catch your breath for a minute. Just send some HPDE people out in the middle of a festival and be like, "Oh, okay, all right, now I can breathe."
Hmm.
But you don't get that. But instead, you get Friday and Saturday being just flat out the whole day. You're running 100 miles an hour nonstop, and then Sunday you can take that big giant collective breath and say, "Okay, just send the last dash out of time tech, that one last round of drift if there is one,
Hmm. Maybe
and
the
then
rush
HPDE the
guys.
rest of the day." Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe the rush guys, which those guys have been extremely impressive for anyone who has not been watching or has been recently introduced to grid life. The Rush SR cars are proving to be pretty awesome. They put on some great racing. Um, I don't even want to know what it costs to run one of those cars. I know they're not terribly expensive. I think they start at like $40,000,
I think it's
something like that.
40,000 for the car, and they said the running costs were somewhere on the order of $100 an hour,
Yeah,
which is nothing.
yeah, it's not terrible, but some of these guys are traveling to Laguna and Lime Rock and
Oh yeah,
Midwest. Yeah, they're going all over the country, so that's where I know the cost has to get pretty pretty wild.
yeah,
But
yeah. The car cost isn't bad though. I mean, if you're looking at performance per dollar kind of ratios, that's a tough one to beat.
yeah, that's one that I tell people is probably the most ignored one for most drivers.
Hmm.
Is they just like, no, no, just keep swiping, just keep swiping the card, it'd be okay.
Yeah, yeah. Until the big one, and then it's not okay because those are ugly. But that's
Yeah,
okay.
those always get ugly.
Indeed, they do. So you had goals going in. It sounded like some of them might not have been achieved.
Well, yeah, we so it started with our my shifter, which is an adjustable selector rod. Most people are familiar with them, especially rear wheel drive guys. Was sliding on me during heat one. So during that first session, my shifter throw was extremely long. The shifter was almost touching my body.
Wow.
I have a kinematic speed shifter. It's really tall. Anyone who's ever seen one,
Hmm.
uh, Sam makes some fantastic shifters. But the rod kept sliding on me, and then finally, when I came in, we popped the selector rod out after getting it lined up in the exact length that I wanted it to, that it was supposed to be staying at. And then I took it over to Chris Boersma's paddock spot and said, "Hey, could you guys weld this in place for me?"
Well, so much
So
for
it won't be
adjustability.
adjustable anymore, but it's at least gonna stay.
Yeah, I mean, there's advantages to that. I kind of it's kind of like us making a joke about four-way adjustable shocks. I'm like, that's just three more ways for us to mess it up. So,
Yeah, yeah. But so we did that, and then session two, and I hit a bunch of traffic too, and that was actually where we went just under 2 seconds faster than we did last year, even with all of that
wow.
and a crap ton of traffic. So I was like, okay, there's a lot more in this car. We've just got to find the gap, and
Hmm.
spacing of the whole group on track and get this shifter right.
Right.
And so I go out for the second session, and car feels good, shifter feels good, no issues. Because like I said, we got the shifter exactly where I wanted it before we went out on track.
Right.
So we get out there, and then I'm going up the uphill, which is turn five for those
Hmm.
wondering.
It's a
And the car gets
right-hander,
a little,
you know.
yep, right-hander with a wall that's extremely close and kind of scary.
Yep.
Um, and I feel the car kind of wiggle around on me, and I said, it's all kind of weird. Maybe my tires are getting a little greasy. Done a few laps, could be, maybe. I don't think I'm pushing that hard. So then I go into West Bend, turn six,
Hmm.
and car feels great. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Must have just maybe I hit a little bit of oil. Maybe somebody spilled a little something on track. Could be anything. And then I get into the downhill, and I feel the whole car wiggling around like this. And I said, uh-oh, that's not good. So while I've already passed the
Fit in.
pit lane entrance, yeah,
Yeah.
pit in's long gone. I said, well, okay, I'll go back around. Let's just get through the track. And I look down, and all of my gauges are wiggling all over the place.
Oh no.
And I said, uh-oh, that's not good. And the car is a little more wiggly, a little more wiggly, and it's all over the place. So I just kind of stay in on the inside, point people by as they go by, and I go down into pit lane. And as I loop back around, and I go over to my paddock spot, and I was in B paddock for anyone who knows where that is, over
Hmm.
by the downhill. And as I'm backing into my spot, And some other people saw it too and started yelling at me about it. But I saw just this big cloud of smoke go by my head. And I get out, and my entire left rear wheel is just engulfed in flames.
Wow.
And luckily, I was able to get it out pretty quickly. But then I look, uh, trying to figure out what's going on with this, and I don't see anything, but I know something's terribly wrong. So Tyler makes his way back over. He starts looking at the car. We look inside of my wheels, and my rotor is completely cracked all the way around at uh, the actual hub portion
The hat
of the
side.
rotor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual hat itself is completely separated. And we're like, oh, well, that's not good. So then I have to run off to go work. Thank God Tyler was there. And he starts taking the car apart, and he jacks the car up, and he says, your lug nuts are loose. And he starts wiggling the wheel and sending me a video of it. And I was like, oh, of course, it's something dumb like that. Come to find out, the lug nuts were tight. The wheel bearing had exploded, and that was what caught on fire and had welded my dust shield around
Oh,
the
yeah.
spindle. I'll have to send you the picture. It's pretty funny.
It's as long as you're safe, it's funny, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it made it in safe and sound. That was the big thing. But yeah, definitely could have been worse. That would have been terrible if I had tried to push that in any way, shape, or
Just
form.
one more hot lap,
Just
and then I'll
yeah,
bring
just
it
one
in.
lap. But then unfortunately we didn't have any spare parts with us. So the car sat, and I'm sitting there trying to find parts. Tyler's like, "Hey, we need this tool, we need that tool." And I knew what tools we needed, but we're all just so scatterbrained because, there's a million different things going on at the event, especially when you're working and driving. And then you start to go through everything. And I reached out to our buddies at FCP Euro. So massive shout out to Nate, JR, and Pat. Those are the boys for sure,
Hmm.
uh, because they managed to not only get us the parts that we needed, but also the tool that we needed in order to do that job trackside.
All right. So here comes the only time that I will yell at you. And you can tell how loud I yell. If you need BMW parts and you are up this way, you have to call me. I have them.
I appreciate that, Bill. Thank you.
I will bring them to you. I will deliver them. I will wipe them off with alcohol. I will hand them to the floor, and I will move myself away from them, and you can pick them up in a safe quarantine zone. So keep us in mind. It's okay.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
No, never a problem. So you resurrect the car, or was that it for the weekend?
Oh no, we ended up resurrecting the car. We got all the parts in, and we managed to make it out for the last session.
Mm.
And large part of that being because just how tired we were. Tyler had busted his butt on the car, on top of just going ahead and changing all the brakes while we were in there. So we did brand new rotors, which that we did have. I did have spare rotors and brand new pads from GLock.
Hmm.
So we threw all that on, or I should say Tyler threw all that on, and tried to just enjoy the night, enjoy Friday night, you know. And then we made it out for that last session. By the time we had everything together, and that was when we uh, went. It was like 2.4 seconds faster than last year. Um, Again, still not as fast as we wanted, but definitely faster. And with the traffic issues, which I could have solved that myself by just coming in and asking for space. But I mostly wanted to see if the car was even going to hold together.
Right.
And luckily it did.
So where do you? It's kind of a. I'm going to ask you this question from both sides, but so just strap in, buddy. So where do you think you got the 2.4 seconds from? What got you there?
Um, Breaking deeper. So the brakes that were on the car have been on the car for quite some time, and we upgraded compounds,
Hmm.
and these new R16s that we have on the car now have some incredible bite, um, but not in a violent way. You get some pads once they get hot, it's almost violent once you get
Hmm.
on the brakes. These, it's very modular, it's very controllable, it's very predictable.
Hmm.
Massive shout out to Danny. I absolutely love G-Locks. I have zero complaints. Um,
We have never tried them yet.
they're fantastic. I absolutely love them. And but between that and a lot of sim time,
Mm. Okay.
been quite a bit of time on going back and forth between Race Room, Assetto Corsa, and iRacing. So there's a local place here in town called Wantech VR that we do a league night on Wednesday nights, and most of the guys go and hang out up there on Thursday evenings,
Hmm.
and we always have a great time. And they use Race Room, and it's not bad. I've kind of grown to like Race Room. Um, there are pros and cons to it. There's this, Assetto Corsa that is a bit different than um, iRacing, and everyone has their preference, right?
Sure.
Some people like iRacing, some people like Assetto, some people like whichever.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to learn to balance between all of them and kind of do the best that I can with everything that there is.
Right. So, okay, like I said, I was going to ask you this question from both ways. Well, you did 2.4 seconds, but you weren't happy about it. So, what do you need to do to get more?
Get the tune sorted. So we realized, and I've been telling people forever, and it was something that we knew, and it's something that there's plenty of evidence to back. But my engine is not as heavily supported in the aftermarket community in the tuning world
Right.
as, say, a K series
Hmm.
or an LS. But it is there. The problem is finding people, or getting a hold of people, I should say, who do know them
Right.
extremely well, and applying that knowledge to the tune. But we've had several. I've had several different people and a couple of very, very good tuners look over at everything, and they say, "Oh, there's plenty of room for more power in this. There's plenty of room. You've got all the room in the world, basically."
Hmm.
But it's getting the dyno time, or getting a back highway, something like that,
Right.
somewhere where we can get it properly dialed and set that time aside. So that'll be something that I definitely have to make more time for,
Hmm.
some way, somehow.
Yeah. That's that's part of the fun. I don't think we've ever dynoed a car. So, I mean, obviously we've got some headroom there, but most of the racing we do, it's not really applicable. But maybe if we get a little heavier into grid life, it'll matter.
We have dynoed the car twice. That sounds about right.
Hmm. Useful, just not something we've gotten to yet. So we're getting there. All right.
Oh yeah,
So
it's always a journey.
exactly, piece by piece, inch by inch.
Yep.
So so you've listened to the podcast before, which means you're not that intelligent, but you make bad decisions. You're a race car driver. We get it. Traditional good, bad, and the ugly. Good being highlight, bad being something that didn't go quite so well, and ugly. If you don't have an ugly, we do love story time.
Um, let's see. Good is honestly, this is going to sound like such a stereotypical answer, but the event itself.
Hmm.
I had some. I always love hanging out with my GridLife family, getting to see everybody, getting to hang out. It was very sad to not see you guys there.
Yeah, we're
Um,
we're feeling it.
but it's always a good time with everybody. It's great to see Adam, Renee, Abe, Emma, uh, all of my track buddies. But I also went to the event with some spectacular people, including two of my friends, Max and Jordan. who got to come to the event. This was technically their first, what I would call a full GridLife event. So
Right.
they have been to CMP. Max came to CMP last year. Jordan came to CMP this year, but they were only there for a day. And you and I both know at a GridLife event, if you're only there, you show up in the morning and you leave in the afternoon or in the evening, you're not getting the whole experience.
Nope.
You got to be there for the weekend. Um, so they got to come with us and they said they had a great time. I am absolutely thrilled that they came. I love introducing people to GridLife and getting them to experience it. And now I just need both of them to get some cars together. This is me officially calling Max and Jordan.
Oh, well.
Yes, I'm emphasizing on Jordan. She knows why.
Mm-hmm.
But I need them to get their cars together and come play on track with us because both of them are rather quick.
Well, I mean, uh, speaking as somewhat of an authority on racing, you do not wait for your car to be perfect
Yep,
because it will never be done.
yep. It never will. There's always something you can improve, fix, make better, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And
Just
that
do it.
includes the person sitting in the seat. So,
Yep,
get out there and give it some fun.
yep. It's I will be over the moon when the two of them get on track.
All right. Well, when should they be on track? What is their next event?
Now.
Well, Sunday night
Right
at like
now.
8 o'clock is not going to work out too
Yep.
well for them.
No, won't hurt. We'll just get kicked out of Road Atlanta. It'll be fine.
Go to AMP. You got a better chance there.
Just go to CMP. We'll call Mike. I'll call Mike and be like, "Hey,
There
buddy,
you go.
come on. It's their first time."
At least do the skid pad. That's always fun.
Yeah, be great.
All right, so we've got the good and two call outs. What about the bad or the low light? I'm guessing it's the hub.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the hub. But all things considered, as bad as it was, and I can hear Tyler cussing now, screaming about how mad he was at my car. Um, but I'm a very particular person when it comes to
Hmm.
anybody touching my car.
Right.
Um, and Tyler knows that. Anyone who knows me and knows my car knows how particular I am. And for him to do just an outstanding job was truly something special. I loaded the car up going into West Bend because since it's the left rear, obviously that's going to see a lot of stress at Lime Rock.
Yep.
And when he looked at me and right before I went out and said, "It's good," I didn't have to question it.
Right.
I wasn't sitting there going, "Oh man, is this going to hold? Is it going to stay? What if it breaks loose again?" I didn't have to question it at all. So to
Mhm.
have somebody like that in my corner is truly something that I know a lot of people don't have. I know a lot of these guys who do, build and develop and race these cars by themselves with absolutely no help. And so to have the help that I have between Tyler and Chris, who just recently got out of the hospital, which is why he was not able to help. He was pretty much put on mandatory light duty by
Mhm.
Tyler and all of us as well. So for him to even be at the event, we were just thrilled that he was even there.
Right.
So, and I love both of them to death. The two of them are a very small window of people that I would let touch my car. So even though it was bad from a driving standpoint, having those issues, knowing that I have the support and the love and the help from those guys is what makes it better.
Yep. I I agree. Getting those hubs off of the rear especially can be a bit of a bear, and I don't think your little excursion there made it any better.
No, well, getting it off was actually rather easy. It literally just fell out in my hand.
Well, we had several hours of slide hammer on one of ours. It was less than cooperative.
Oh no, when I say that bearing exploded, that bearing was done. And
Uh,
you'll see in the picture I sent you.
okay. That sounds
Um,
awesome.
I
You know
I
which
took
picture we're using for the podcast picture.
yeah, we took the axle nut off. I took the axle nut off with the impact, and I just literally just grabbed the impact or the hub and just, whoop, right in my hand. I was like, well, that's not supposed to happen.
No, no, that is far from it typical. Far from typical. Okay. What about ugly or story time?
Ugly or story time? Oh man, let's see.
Either something ugly or the story that sticks out.
Ooh, this could go one of two ways. There's an ugly thing and there's a story time.
I'm all for both. Why do or when
Okay.
and is so much more
Uh,
fun.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Why not? The ugly, I've got to say, is the some of the GLTC races. Nothing against any of they're all great drivers. This is not a knock at anybody by any means.
Mhm.
But I think some people are maybe getting a little too comfortable with making contact. And GridLife is working very hard to nip that in the bud
Mm-hmm.
because, when you remember when GLTC started, what
Zero.
feels like forever ago, it was absolutely zero contact. I don't give a crap whose fault it was. It's not to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like recently there's been a lot more contact than usual. And, obviously I wasn't out there with them. I can't, I'm basically talking out of my rear end, but from even just a spectator standpoint, it's like, dang, man, come on. These guys are, Roger Penske's still not, even, yes, you're competing and it's in front of thousands of people all over YouTube and spectators at the event and whatnot, but Roger Penske is not writing you a paycheck if you win this event.
Nope.
He's not sitting up in the hill recruiting you for the next IMSA race.
I mean,
So
I'm not saying anything that the guys at GridLife don't know about, but Lemons has a thing where uh I don't care whose fault it is, you both did it.
yeah, and that's pretty much grid life stance is, either a driver is found to be at fault, and if they decide to call it a racing incident, then they're both at fault.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I think that's perfectly fair. It takes two to tango.
Yep. Yeah.
Sure, there will be more fault in one direction or the other,
It's not zero
but
though.
yeah, it's not zero. I,
Rarely is it zero. Let me go with that.
yeah, yeah, I'd agree. But
All right. Well, let's change emotions and go for story time because grid life story time can get a little.
let's see. Oh man, where to start? You know how every grid life event goes. It's always something.
Well, yeah, that's why it's a choice.
Oh, probably Saturday night. Karaoke was pretty fun. Playing a ton of different songs that I grew up listening to, and of course, most people at grid life events are about the same age as me. So getting to just have a blast from the past for several hours of different songs was pretty great, and just having everybody sing along. I saw some pictures afterwards of some of the stuff after I had left karaoke night of just how wild it got and seeing, beer can towers that are, 9 feet tall and
Mm.
dudes wearing uh, boxes of beer as helmets and armor and everything else.
I've heard the
But
uh, the karaoke is progressed from just grabbing a mic and singing to a bit of production, a bit of preparation, kind of.
oh yeah, oh yes, there's quite a few people who they go all out for the event, and that it feels like that's almost why they show up.
Hmm.
Because they're not there for the race, they're not there for the drifting, they're not there for the time attack. They are there solely for the karaoke night.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope, nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, we need to get there and stay over the
Yes,
whole
yes,
weekend.
you do.
Yes,
Yes, you
I know.
do.
I know. I'm trying to talk my beautiful bride into Pittsburgh, but we'll see. Pit race, sorry. All right. So, what do you got to do post race? You got any improvements? You got any projects you need to do? Any quick goals?
Quick? No. Other than make myself faster, been spending a lot more time on the sim as of recent. So uh, I won my first league night race the other night, which was pretty great. Some of those guys are actually pretty darn quick.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the car goes, I really want to go through with a more fine-tooth comb
Mm-hmm.
and find some more of those little things. And Tyler and I have sat down and talked about some of the stuff that we want to change. We're discussing going E85 just for, I mean, let's be real here, making power on E85 is a little bit easier. Um,
It's tough for the daily drive it though.
yeah, well, we'll do a flex fuel tune for that. But just getting the tune properly sorted, making sure we make time to make that happen, but also looking at, upgrading the hubs all the way around, all four corners, replace all of them because the front two have not been replaced. And I'm sure that, I mean, those front two have 4 seasons on them. So
Oh wow.
it is definitely time. So just, and there's nothing wrong with them. They have zero play at all.
Mm-hmm.
But just to be on the safe side, we'll just go ahead and do it. Um, and then hopefully get some more testing in. I am talking about doing something at Atlanta Motorsports Park or Carolina Motorsports Park later this year. We'll just have to see how the cards fall. I'm also in a new role. Well, I say new. Technically, I'm still new, but been in it since February. I got a promotion at work,
Very nice.
so it's still a lot to learn, a lot to work on, and a lot to make sure, I mean, that's what keeps food on the table. That's what keeps a roof over my head. So that obviously has to come first. But we're just going to do what we can during the off season and make sure that we come out next year the best that we possibly can. Um, but we're really pushing for a much larger stride this off season. Last year, it was ripping the engine out, going through the whole thing, getting the RTBs set up, fabricating brackets for the vacuum block and, to routing everything and trying to make all that happen. So this year it's like, okay, well, all of that is done. Now let's really get it dialed and get it set.
So is your season over for driving right now?
Yeah, as far as GridLife goes, yes.
Okay.
As much as I would love to go to Autobahn and pit race and whatnot, especially Laguna, I'd love to go back to Laguna. We went last year, and that was such a spectacular event. Um, Very dramatic event as well.
Mm-hmm.
Between the fog delay freaking everyone out, and then the Supra catching on fire, and watching my buddy Ben Thorne have the best race I've ever seen him run in GLTC, and then
Yeah.
lose over a stupid shifter issue.
Yep.
Uh,
I was bummed.
that Yeah, that I Carson and I were standing at the top of grid, and from Laguna you can look straight up
Yep.
and see everyone come out of the corkscrew.
Mm-hmm.
And when Ben was not the first car out of the corkscrew, I mean, our hearts just sank.
Yep. No, that was quite a bummer. I was in the midst of in my mind composing a congratulation text to those guys and
Oh, dude, I was standing on the concrete, like up against the concrete wall,
mm-hmm.
right there at the top of the hill, right by turn one at the start finish line. I was just waiting to give him the biggest cheer and shout I possibly could.
Yeah.
I was so excited for him, and it was truly devastating to
Well,
see that happen.
if there's truth in the traveling in threes, he just had his third one, so hopefully he's good for a long time.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too. He's a fantastic driver. Both of the Bens from Gears and Gasoline are fantastic drivers, and I've been following them since before they were doing GridLife things.
Mm-hmm.
So to see that growth and to see that development has been pretty awesome. So I'm always I'm friends with a lot of the drivers in GLTC and in Time Attack, but anytime, those guys get out there, there's always a small part of me that's like, you know what? I hope these guys win.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Ben. See what I did there. Saturday morning at 9 a.m. I'm sitting there waiting for my YouTube to refresh. It's fine.
Yep. 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 Me too. Me too.
All right. So, sir, we are the In Training podcast, as you know. What did you learn this weekend? What can you do better?
Go over parts with a fine tooth comb a lot better.
I have an
Um,
idea for you. We'll talk about it after the podcast, but I think you'll
don't
like it.
rush. If I can give anybody any sort of advice, do not rush. We have ran into that a lot this season where it is down to the wire. We are days away from leaving, and we are still working on that stupid car. Take your time, go through it all with a fine tooth comb. Do it all right the first time. Not that we were skipping steps, it was rushing to put things back together.
So I will go a different way. I say you should rush and you should get it done as early and as quickly as possible because
Oh,
stuff
yes.
happens at the end
Yep,
and you just run out of time.
it does. It
So,
does. But as long as you do it right, that's
well, you got to
that's
do
the
it
big
right.
thing for me.
You got to do it
That's the
right.
big thing for me.
Yeah. I mean, our last race, we had similar problem in that we wanted to fix the transmission. We decided to work with a friend who's really good at transmissions, and he decided to help us out. So we ordered the parts we needed, took it to him, said, "Here it is. Can you help us out?" He said, "No problem." Opened it up and said, "Oh, you need this." Waited a couple weeks for those to come in because these things aren't can't get them from around the corner. Ordered them in, brought them in, put it all together. Found another problem. 2 or 3 more weeks to get everything there, get it all done. We're out of time.
Yep.
Terrible.
I've been
Nothing
there
drives me
before.
crazy. Nothing drives me crazier. Ah,
There's
anyway.
nothing worse than having to hurry up and wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's never a matter of the work. Well, not never. It's rarely the work that kills you. It's parts.
It's true. That
So
is very true.
yeah, and it gets worse when you sit there and you have to overnight things because then the part costs $20 and the shipping costs $250, and it's just like, oh, killing me. But
I've never done that, Bill. That
I've heard
never
I've heard
happens.
rumors. I mean, not that we've ever done that. Uh,
No, never. That doesn't
uh,
happen.
vicious rumors, vicious rumors. All right, so it sounds like your season's done, sir. But we were hoping to see you at pit race.
Yeah, I wish I could be there, but Petite is it's an event. I will also be taking a few friends that have never been to what I call a big boy race.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they've been to some GridLife events. They've been to like NASA events and SCCA stuff, but they've never been to something that is quite to that level.
Yeah. So, well, I can't complain about going to see that versus going to see my spectacular Sunday Cup national championship run, which won't end up very well, but that's okay.
Oh well, when we're taking breaks, you obviously know I'm gonna pull up Race Hero.
Oh,
That,
just
that's a given.
just remember, I have this special setting in Race Hero that extra digit that it takes for my lap time. That's preferred. That's a preference, not actually happening.
I'll keep that in mind when I'm looking.
That's right. How is he at 10 minutes? Whatever. It's fine. That was only my average lap. It wasn't my fast one. It's fine. Very well, sir. Well, I am very glad that everything worked out well with your hub issue, bearing issue, and nothing major from that because that can get to be a big deal. And
Oh yeah, that could have been a car ending
mm-hmm,
event.
mm-hmm, indeed. And wish you were a pit race, but enjoy Petite Le Mans.
I absolutely will.
And we will bother you as always. Thank you for coming on again.
Anytime, anytime.